So we have a very interesting conversation between Richard Brown and Bernardo Kastrup. If you have not already watched it, I very much recommend it. I will leave a link to the video in the description box of this video. In this video I will be focusing particularly on a point of the discussion that happens around the 19-minute mark. Kastrup has been arguing for an understanding of the world that sees the noumenal ontology of existence as being something like mind rather than matter. He calls the objective world mind at large. His metaphysical worldview he calls objective idealism. Brown and Kastrup are discussing the hard problem of consciousness, and Richard Brown raises an interesting point. He asks, how is it that the thoughts of mind at large should appear to us as the particular qualities of experience? Why should universal mind appear to our dissociated consciousness as the green of a tree, for example? Now, Brown's point is interesting. He claims that he is pointing to an equally hard problem, for the green of the tree seems arbitrary compared to the actual form of objective reality, that being the thoughts of mind at large. Now, Bernardo's answer is, in my view, interesting but unsatisfying. But I don't want to be unfair to Bernardo because I think he is up against a pretty tough objection, one that I think only a Goethian approach to the appearances offers any available way forward. Okay, so let's go into Bernardo's response to Brown's objection. The main form his response takes is by appealing to the process of evolution by natural selection. Bernardo suggests that evolution has sort of coded the thoughts of mind at large into a simplified dashboard experience for the sake of our survival. The tree in itself, which is really the activity of mind at large, appears to us with its various qualities of solidity, extension in space and time, its greenness and texture. It appears to us like this because if we were exposed directly to mind at large, it would be overwhelming for us and our survival would no doubt be jeopardized. So that's one explanation as to how the qualities of experience have developed out of mind at large. Bernardo's second response to Brown's question is that the qualities of experience, i.e. texture, extension in space and time, the greenness of the leaves, do not pose a hard problem because these qualities are of the same kind of ontological existence as that of mind in general. We know firsthand, Bernardo points out, how a thought can influence the qualities of experience. Feelings can influence our thoughts, and our thoughts, conversely, can influence our feelings. And hence, there is no real hard problem as to how mind at large gives rise to the specific appearance of the green of a tree on the so-called dashboard of our consciousness. So, now for my objection to Bernardo's response. Let us look at Bernardo's second claim first, that being that we already have instances of how mind influences the qualities of experience. Now, while I agree with Bernardo, it's true that this can happen in inner experiences, that is, thoughts can influence feelings and vice versa. It is simply not true that thoughts can influence qualities of perception, like sound or colour or texture. And as Rudolf Steiner points out in his Philosophy of Freedom, I can no more create the percept of a horse by merely thinking about a horse than I can have an intuition of the concept of a horse by just passively staring blankly at a horse. In other words, we cannot generate the perceptual experience of a horse in someone who has never seen a horse just by explaining to him or her the concept of a horse. We can explain the concept of a horse to somebody till the cows come home, but they're never going to be able to observe a horse just by having the concept of it. So thought, it appears, cannot influence a percept. For there to be a percept, the person must observe the horse. Thought cannot generate an observation. So, to me, Brown's point still stands, it seems. There does seem to be a hard problem there. Okay, so now the second objection I have to Bernardo's answer is itself twofold. First of all, according to Bernardo's view, everything about the appearance of the tree that we experience has been rendered as sort of arbitrary, the product of our dissociated mind. It's the product of evolution. According to Bernardo's view, we are experiencing only the dashboard representation of the thing, and this representation seems to be fully conditioned by evolution. Now, if the tree, with its green leaves and texture, is simply a shorthand representation that evolution has constructed for the purpose of our survival, then it follows that the entire manifest world around us has meaning only to the extent that it provides an evolutionary advantage. Meaning is to be found not in this world of experience, but only in the transcendent world of mind at large that lies behind the appearances. To me, this view could easily lead to a sort of nihilism of this world, an attitude that only the transcendent is of any value. Where meaning in life, in this life, is concerned, saving the appearances from arbitrary meaninglessness, that is, saving the appearances from nihilism, Bernardo's worldview seems to offer no help. So that's my first critique of Bernardo's response. Now here's the second part of my critique of his response. And I think this part is more terminal. When Bernardo appeals to the mechanisms of evolution as explaining the appearances of the tree, is he talking about these mechanisms as being the product of mind at large? Are these mechanisms the behavior of mind at large? If so, then evolution seems to be more like a development of consciousness than a mechanistic process. And here Bernardo seems to be in line with someone like Owen Barfield or Rudolf Steiner. However, there is a problem with Bernardo's worldview, and it clashes with the idea that evolution is something that mind at large is doing. And that is, if evolution is the process of transpersonal thought, that is, something that mind at large is doing, then to what extent do we have the thing in itself when we study it? According to Bernardo, it seems that either the phenomenon of evolution is just a dashboard experience in our dissociated consciousness, removing from it any objective validity, or when we study evolution, we have direct access to the thing in itself that we are studying. It cannot be both according to Bernardo's metaphysics. So what did Goethe manage to achieve that is so different? And why is Goethe the only way forward at this point? Well, if the phenomena of the manifest world are mere subjective appearances, then a science of these phenomena is surely a meaningless waste of time. We should be concerned only with the world in itself, with mind at large, and lose all interest in the illusion that is this world of manifest reality. But to me, this isn't an option for human beings, for our lives are embodied in this world, and hence there is a personal value to this world. And if we preach a science that tells us this world is an illusion, we do an incredible injustice on a humanitarian level of extreme proportion. The current meaning crisis is a mere picnic compared to what could follow if we continue to pursue this type of approach to the phenomena. To my mind, Goethe represents a new approach. Goethe refuses to philosophize from the green of the tree and its living presence to some abstract metaphysical ontology behind it. Goethe will approach the colour and find meaning within the quality of green itself, and see the meaningful connection this quality has with living organisms like trees and plants. Goethe is approaching the appearances with an exact use of imagination. He sees that imagination can reveal the meaning contained within the appearance itself. Now, of course, to many people this will appear unsatisfactory and unscientific. They will want to investigate further and wish to discover an ultimate reality that explains the tree and its particular qualities. But this dissatisfaction in these people only kicks the can further down the road. For an answer to the real nature of the tree can itself only ever take the form of a conceptual understanding. That is, it can only be something our imagination conjures up. So it is not that Goethe's answer to why the tree is green is unsatisfying to these people. It is more that these people are unsatisfied with any answer having a conceptual, imaginative component whatsoever. These people will hence never be satisfied with any answer, and they should really admit this at the start, rather than accusing answers offered to them as being unsatisfactory. Meaning is a human concern. It is the ultimate object that the human spirit wishes to achieve in understanding the world. This meaning can only take a conceptual form, for meaning itself is conceptual. If we eradicate meaning from science, then we necessarily have a meaningless science. Goethe's approach is that of using exact imagination to unfold the meaning inherent in the world of appearance. Thanks for watching.